story and making me go back out to die because they just said I couldn't work anymore. They just said my next trip would be Camp Fallujah, and then I'd be done working because I'm unfit for duty after my 3rd concussion. Now they're saying I'm going to go back out and take over patrol because these guys are hurt worse than us, and they need to get medevac. So we drove back there, man, on that same road, and I remember seeing the craziness of the car, the Humvee door be missing. I still don't know where the glass went. The glass is like this thick in the door, and it just wasn't anywhere.
And this is the same day that you had just been blown up.
Like an hour later. Like they just went and took over for us. And then by the time we got there, got checked out, they were already hit, and we had to go back. God. Another ID went off that day too, and like there ended up being like 4 people who couldn't work anymore, and just it was horrible. And but I drove back out there, and I remember the medevac coming in. They already medevaced the guy who was hurt, Weimer, who was like being medevaced out, and they came back for the civilians who were injured. Like they had blood all over their head, and like we wrapped them and sutured them up and stuff. And we're waiting for the medevac. And I remember still thinking I was gonna die. I still got out of the truck. I thought I was gonna probably be sniped, but I was like, you know what? I still can't just show up and not do anything. I'm a leader in this, so I get out. I remember running over there checking on them, and my buddy, I think it was Egress, had them all wrapped up, or no, Mills. One of them had them all wrapped up. It wasn't even a corpsman. It was just a guy who knew basic combat lifesavers, had them wrapped up really nicely. And then I was like, you guys good? You guys good? And then the chopper came. We started moving them. I was like, I'm just going to go back to the truck. And I just went back to the truck and sat there. The entire drive back to Fallujah, I was like, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. It was the worst anxiety I've ever felt in my life. Like, no, I was like, in my head, I knew I was going to die. I was just waiting for it. But we got back to Camp Fallujah. And I didn't die. And
in Fallujah.
Yeah, so this
Camp Fallujah's in
Fallujah's, yeah, in Fallujah.
Or was in Fallujah.
Yeah, and so I get back there, and they don't send me home. They don't send me to get a CAT scan. They don't do anything. And so I just, for the next 4 months, I'm just COG of Camp Grizzly. Camp Bellawood, it switched when I was there. Same camp inside of Camp Fallujah, but they switched names. I forget which one was first. I just had to be a COG of Camp Grizzly, waiting my time out until I flew back. And so, I forget what it was, June, super late May or June or whatever, I flew back, and then I was already checking out because I also had like 60 days of leave built up, and that's why I was able to check out pretty much 3 days after touching down from Iraq. I checked out of the Marine Corps. Wow. But they said, they're like, do you need to see medical? And I was like, I don't think so, because you didn't send me to see medical. And I didn't have to use my brain.
So I would have expected that if I needed to.
I'm like, you guys are the smart ones.
Yeah.
They kept saying they were going to send me to Balad when I was over in Iraq, and they just never did. So I just assumed, I was like, oh, I must be getting better. Because I don't know. I've never been blown before. I don't know what the brain does. I'm from a small Ponuk town where they don't teach you this stuff. So,
did anything eventful happen when you went back to Camp Fallujah for the rest of the time that you were there?